I'm your host, Big 3 Breakdown, but please feel free to call me Mike or Michael, whatever. And so Akira, as you can tell by the video, the title of the video, and on my story I always talk about this video and I've been hyping it up and I hope it lives up to the hype. So yeah, Akira, it's considered a classic. It is considered a film that's paved the way for many anime. Today I will be breaking down and reviewing the film Akira. I will be breaking it down into 5 points: the setting, the characters, the plot, the end of the film, and the production of the animation, and why it's a classic, and a bunch of other stuff, and then overall give it my rating out of 10. And I just want to give a little spoiler warning for Akira. It will make little to no sense if you haven't watched it. Please watch it. It's an amazing movie. I highly recommend it. So with that being said, let's get into this video. First off, we will start with the setting, which is a very unique part of the film. In the beginning, Akira, a very strong Esper, lost complete control of his power and exploded, and this caused the absolute destruction of Tokyo. We fast forward 31 years later in 2019 is where our story takes place. Neo-Tokyo is what we now call it, and it is on the verge of destruction. Political corruption, anti-government protests, and gang violence ravage the city. This creates a very gripping and believable setting. It truly creates a feeling of chaos all around our main characters. The city has completely lost the feeling of real-life Tokyo that we know. It is chaotic and ravaged, in a ravaged city that is so torn against the people and the government. The politicians are as corrupt as can be, doing anything for money, the protests totally blocking the streets, rival gangs fighting out in the streets, the military creating test subjects known as Espers that have awakened psychic abilities, which I believe are for military power. The setting is a portrayal of a city that had everything go wrong. It is complete and utter chaos. I love this setting because of how real the director made it feel, and it was a gripping part of the film. The setting is exceptional for this film. So now I'd like to move on to the characters, which is probably the most important segment of this video. I want to only focus on the 3 main characters, Tetsuo, Kaneda, and Kei. They will have their own little segments. I only want to talk about these 3 because they're the most pivotal and the most important to the aspects of the story. I will first talk about Kei. She's probably the least significant of the 3, but is still a big part of the story. Kei is a part of the anti-government organization. Kaneda has a crush, I guess you would say, on Kei. Because of this, Kaneda is trying to pursue her. Kaneda accidentally stumbles into an anti-government meeting. The rest want to kill him because he knows too much at this point, but Kei votes that they use him when they breach a gigantic government facility in Neo-Tokyo. While Kaneda is helping them, Kei and him build some sort of relationship. Later in the film, Kaneda and Kei basically partner up while trying to save Tetsuo. I guess you could say that throughout the movie, Kaneda and Kei built a strong relationship. This is her importance to the story, along with helping Kaneda meet Tetsuo for the first time in his manic state, which I will get to later. So now I'll move on to Kaneda. He is portrayed as the main character. He is the leader of his bike gang with a few of his friends. He has a crazy decked up bike that he stole and has to be one of the most iconic vehicles in all of anime. You see it referenced in rap, and I feel like everyone knows what it looks like and will recognize it. But anyway, the main dynamic of the group is Kaneda and Tetsuo, who I'll go on in depth later. These two are like brothers. They were raised in the same orphanage as each other, and Kaneda was a big brother figure for Tetsuo, which I should probably save for the later segment for Tetsuo, but I'm going to stray away from that kind of big brother aspect. But Kaneda is definitely a leader. He is strong and confident. He's a generic leader type trope. You know what I'm trying to say. Kaneda loves Tetsuo like a brother, but he picks on him like an older brother would to his younger sibling. I'm always relating these characters to Tetsuo because I feel all their character traits and actions contribute to Tetsuo's character and his character arc. I feel like in this film, every character revolves around Tetsuo. Each character contributes to his development. No character really has their own character arc. So I feel like this segues nicely into Tetsuo's character chunk, if you may. So now I'll segue into Tetsuo. In the first scene that we meet him, he crashes into an Esper named Takashi. This awakens Tetsuo's telepathic powers. If you didn't know, Takashi has telepathic powers as well, so when he crashed into him, he got telepathic powers as well. The government takes Tetsuo into custody because they discovered that he had these powers. We soon realize that the telepathic abilities are on par with Akira, the Esper that caused the destruction of Tokyo 31 years ago. Tetsuo was having ringing noises inside his head that he couldn't seem to shake off. He attempts to escape with his girlfriend, but they were captured yet again. In this point in time, Tetsuo hasn't taken any of the pills that suppress his overwhelming power so that he doesn't lose control of this power. Tetsuo's headache is Akira telling him to come to him. The terrible pain leads him to escape and go to Akira wherever he is. This is the start of what I like to call Tetsuo's rampage across Neo Tokyo. Also, mind you, at this time, his power is starting to get to his head. Do you remember how I said before that Tetsuo was kind of the little brother and the weakest of the group? Well, he always had been lesser than Kaneda because he was a little scrawny and he always came up short of his big brother, in quotes, in Kaneda. When this power starts manifesting, he becomes a crazed maniac who is on a complete rampage going to Akira. He proceeds to kill one of his friends in the bike gang. He's just breaking stuff. He stole Kaneda's bike along with killing some civilians. Near the end of his rampage, when he just discovered that Akira was not an actual human being anymore, he was only vital organs, Tetsuo gets very angry, and this is where my favorite scene in the film happens, and is basically the ending scene. I like to call it Tetsuo's cry for help. I'm getting chills as I talk about this. His power is officially taken over his body. He is helpless against the power that he let get out of hand. And one line sums this all up: help. He is once again in the beginning of his character arc asking for help. He tried to do things on his own and thought that this power would help him kind of create his own world, I guess. Or just make him stronger than his peers. Tetsuo wanted something more. He wanted to be different. He didn't want to be the weak younger brother type figure. After everything that went down, you realize that Tetsuo didn't fit in. He never fit in. He was trying to be something he wasn't. So in a bit, I will go over the ending. I will explain the end and the closure of Tetsuo's character. You see, when I was first planning out this video, I wanted to do a plot segment of this video, but then I realized that Tetsuo's character arc is the plot. The movie follows his slow decline into insanity because of this power he acquired. But he needs help in the end, and this leads us to the final scene and the finale of the film Akira. So in the end, Akira explodes yet again, like in the beginning. But this time it is implied that Akira was making a whole other universe for him and Tetsuo to live in. This explosion was a big bang stated by the doctor. Now, how does this tie to the end of Tetsuo's character arc? Well, Tetsuo finally found somewhere that he belonged. Akira understood him, and he took Tetsuo along with him into this universe where his powers are accepted and understood. Before, Tetsuo was just being locked in a hospital for something he can't control. This was a perfect closure to a wild story and character. Tetsuo finally achieved his goal of fitting in. The last line of the film sums up the ending perfectly. It was, "I am Tetsuo. I am Tetsuo." It is up for yourself to imply what this means. Personally, I believe that it means that he finally realized that he doesn't have to try and compete and try to better his peers. He realizes that he is himself, and Akira showed him that. This is one of my favorite endings in anime for this reason. It closed up a beautifully written character arc. And on a more positive note, I felt like I got a little too deep there. I want to do 3 more segments that are not related to the plot: the production and animation, why is it a classic, and my overall rating out of 10. So yeah, we'll go to production and animation first. This will be broken down into 2 sections: animation quality / how the production holds up today, and the music. So let's get into this, because this video is getting a little longer than expected, or a little shorter. Honestly, it's getting a little shorter. When I wrote this script, I thought it was going to get long, but I don't know where it's at right now, but sorry. Alright, let's get to animation quality and does it hold up. The animation is amazing for the time it came out. Back then, it must have been stellar, but I feel like looking at it today, it still holds up it's like the vibe of the old feel. I feel like the ashy classic animation is aesthetically pleasing and looks nice to me. Just my opinion, I love the old looking animation. So yes, it holds up and it looks very nice and it's still eye candy. And now I'll go to the music. Now let me say this, the music is not anything special, but it fits perfect with the vibe of the show. I love the OST in the bike scene, which I'll put on the screen right now. It was such a chill song, but in the background it introduces the setting of chaos that I talked about earlier. While this song is playing, there's a gang fight going on. It is showing anti-government protests, car crashes. It really was a genius placement of this song to introduce this setting of fear and chaos. The music is placed correctly and adds a bit of spice to a scene, as music should. So this is another aspect that I really enjoy about the movie. Alone, the OSTs are alright, but in the scenes, they are wonderfully placed. And the last segment before my final verdict, why is Akira considered a classic? I believe it is a classic for a few reasons. The first being that it stands the test of time. Akira is a very unique film in every right. The plot, the ending, the animation, everything. The movie is so unique and is executed so well that it doesn't get old. The plot isn't basic and not a plot that was common in the time of release. If it was different and it still is today. If it wasn't common in the time of release, that means it wasn't specific to the time period, so it ages well because it was never targeted at the people of the time period. The people in the 80s watched their cartoon or TV show every week, so the story was not an overarching plot. It was every week the heroes fought a new bad guy and won. The people of that time waited every week to see their favorite heroes win, and that's the entertainment they consumed. Now that we are in the era of binging, we'd like to watch a nice developing plot and sit and watch it 12 hours straight and not having to wait every week. So it is easy for us to get immersed into the story and characters. So Akira has a plot that is not a cookie cutter weekly villain, instead it is unique unlike the rest of the stuff that came out then. So it stands out from the rest and displays a raw and distinct story from the others. For example, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Do you consider this a classic? If yes, why? Because it was raw and a unique show that even after 20 years after the time of release, it holds up because it's just a great story, not specific to the time period. It's raw and different. I hate the word, but it was edgy and not distinct to any time period. It was just timeless, and the film does not get old. So yes, it holds up. And now we have the final verdict. I'm gonna put a drum roll on the screen and wait 5 seconds. No, I'm not doing that. I don't even know how to get a drum roll. So I give this movie a 10 out of 10. As you can tell by this video, I love Akira. It has to be one of my favorite character arcs with Tetsuo, and I think all the characters play their part in contributing to this character arc. The setting is one of the best, the concept is genius, every piece of this movie works, and it held up for 32 years, and I gave all my evidence for that in the last section. The ending is beautiful, some of the scenes are emotional, they challenge your mind, and make you think. It's truly a timeless classic and a masterpiece that represents a medium. If you didn't listen to my spoiler warning in the beginning of the video and watch the vid anyway, I'm sorry, but go watch it. You must watch this video. Yeah, this movie. Now, I can't speak English. I recommend this movie to anyone that is an anime fan. I would like to apologize for the extremely long wait on this video. I wanted to have time to make this, and your support has been great. The grind will not be stopping. I will be picking it up for the rest of the month. But I may make less vids in the beginning of the school year, but I will not stop until I at least achieve my goal of having at least being someone substantial in this community. So thank you for making it this far. If you did, comment Tetsuo! So thanks so much for the support, and see ya. Bye.